let's see what's gonna come out of me. I felt a strong pull to make this live about a subject that I've been speaking with so many different people, in particular the past 2 weeks, that had a huge realization yesterday that actually have me want to go through my whole message when I can again. Like now my hand is in a cast, so it's limited what I can do with my webpage and with my things right now. And that's also why I see the gift in this happening, because it's giving me time to self-reflect and turn to silence and going inwards. And it's interesting how what I'm also going to speak about is this, there's a line between when is it becoming self-aware so we can evolve as humans and give more to the world, and where does it become, being narcissistic and self-obsessed. I have for the past year keep saying, put yourself first, put yourself as priority. At the same time, I very often struggle to relate to other people, because honestly, I often feel people are self-obsessed. So what I want to speak into is that there's a difference between being in connection to yourself, knowing who you are, and having fullness in your energy, and increasing fullness in your energy, versus being self-obsessed. The realization I had yesterday as I was walking to the bus to go and have my first shower in a week. I was smelly. And in that walk, which often happens when I'm walking in nature, I was realizing that I'm going to use the word obsession with putting myself first, comes because I've had a life where I have not put myself first, where I've been giving and giving and giving and giving to others. That also includes the past 13 years being a solely single mother. And so there has been so much in my life that has been limited and strained and not even being possible to do. And it's because of this that sometimes, even often, it can be difficult to relate to other people that, for instance, don't have kids, or that they are two parents and they don't know how it can be to be a single solo mom for so many years. And this is not about poor me, right? Because I feel empowered in it. I feel empowered in my choices, and I see actually there's a lot of benefits of being a solo mom as well. So that was not my point. My point was to be this sobering kind of thought, because yes, when I speak to a lot of people, and one of those contexts is that there's a lot of people now who is going back to Christianity or Christian roots and etc. And what was the echo with pretty much most of the people I've been talking about with when it comes to this subject is that they're just tired of the spiritual self-obsessed bullshit, and that it feels good to belong to something bigger. And for me, that has been a given. When I say putting myself first, and I tell people to put themselves first, I'm not saying to ignore other people. I believe that the more full we are of ourselves, the more we can give to the world. The more fully resourced our nervous system and our energy are, the more we simply will overflow and be there for others. And there's a lot of huge context here. So first of all, it's a religious context of, I see how many people are going back to religion, for instance, because they want to feel like they truly belong to something bigger. I have to be honest, I feel like a lot of the context with religion, that's the same also in spirituality, but also when it comes to other types of ideologies, is that a lot of people are searching something that's bigger than them so they can have a daddy to take care of them, so that they don't have to feel like they are fully responsible for their own lives. And if you feel this provoking, I'm happy to hear you in the comments, right? So I'm speaking as this is what it feels like for me. I'm not saying this is how it is, but this is how it feels for me. And I think a lot of people, when they enter into what I'm going to call spiritual place, it's often because they feel like they do not belong where they grew up or with their family. And I see how many people then, when they are then entering into a spiritual culture or group, that many then try to just fit in and just do like the others are doing around. And maybe they start to follow a leader, follow a guru. Maybe they started to have courses because this person is promising them that if you follow this, you're gonna find your way. And I think, we tend to enter into these spaces from wounding. We don't feel good enough. We feel too much and yet not enough. And we wonder, why are we not loved as we are? Why do we feel broken? And so this wound drives us to both look outside of ourselves, but also inside of ourselves. And I think this is where I'm going to actually use the phrase, this is where I think many go wrong, where they either start to only look outside, like mostly outside of themselves, looking for someone else to save them, someone else to have the solution. But then they also have the other version that is maybe looking too much within, getting self-obsessed. Me, 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 me. And as I believe it is with everything, it's not either or. And yes, I'm a Libra. I'm a Libra Sun and I'm a Libra Pluto. So I believe in both. Just like we are feminine and we're masculine, just like we need to have a connection to ourselves, we also need to be connected to something bigger. And yeah, it was just such a huge, at the same time, so simplistic in its awareness yesterday, that I want to really start to rewrite my message. Because when I am saying put yourself first, I'm not saying ignore other people. And it also became aware to me a couple of days ago when I was writing a post. Yeah, I was on Saturday as I was in the ER waiting to know if this was broken or not. That I was writing about me and my self-expression and my journey. And after pressing publish, I went back and I edited what I had written and I added in that, yes, now I'm writing about myself, but that is not what my work is about. In my courses and in my guidance, in my sessions, it's not about me. It's about the people I'm there to serve. But my work in my everyday, when I'm not with clients, is about me. It's about me becoming clear about my wounding, about my shadows, about my patterns, as in my subconscious desires and needs and drives. So that when I am serving other people in my work, I know what my tendencies are, so I can come back to a clean vessel. When I write about myself in public, it's not because I think everyone should just walk around and always be self-obsessed and always guide from yourself in sessions. It's first of all because I really value the privacy of my clients and of the people that attend my courses. I abhor seeing how people are so quick with going on social media and sharing other people's vulnerable moments in order to capitalize on it and use it in marketing. I'm shooting myself in the foot in so many ways when I'm not doing that, because a lot of people don't really understand what my work is about. And I take that, I call myself into becoming clearer what my work is actually about. And my work is not about me. But when I go on social media like this and I share from my perspective and I share my journey to hopefully inspire people to go through their own transparency. When we started working like this, when we enter into the spiritual workshops and courses, it tends to be our wounding that's driving us. We want to be seen, we want to feel healed, we want to feel understood. And when we feel the drive to work to some kind of capacity as a healer or a coach or a therapist or whatever you want to call it, often there is underneath, I would even say always underneath, there is a kind of wound that feel like, if I do this right, if I do this good, I have value. And then my wound would feel less. I think that's a drive. And when we become truly aware of that wound, we can do something about that, so that when we actually are sitting down with people, it's not our wound that is driving us in this process. It's the gift. It's from a healed place. And I've been really lucky to be in containers where this has been talked about. One of those containers was with Sigourney Weldon. And I think this is why we need to go to these kind of courses and sessions and etc. and have people reflect back to us common shadows. And also call us out on our personal shadows and patterns. And that's what I do in my sessions. The brave people that come to me, it's because they're ready. They want to be in a container where they will be called out. Or more correct, they will be called in. So their pattern will be called out and their gift will be called in. And this is very fragile. It's very vulnerable. And so one needs to be in a clear vessel inside. It needs to come from service to that person. And the person who is guiding the session needs to actually be able to put our personal wounding and preferences aside and serve the highest good of that person. And that takes a lot of self-awareness. So that's why it's important to have this connection to self, but also to the higher purpose. And you can also connect this to, it's the horizontal level, meaning that I to others. How am I relating to others? And then it's the vertical level, which is how Am I to the bigger picture, and the bigger picture down to me? And that's a cross, by the way. And I think that's the real purpose of, for instance, Jesus' archetype that was dying on the cross and then attained his rainbow body, which is actually when he transcended his ego through dying to something that's bigger than him. And if we believe the story about Jesus, he was also in a lot of pain taking on that journey. And we should be connected to ourselves and have that connection as well. So I believe in Jesus as an archetype. I do not believe in Jesus as part of a religion. And I do not believe in martyrdom. And I do not think that it's, I don't think it's many people that's gonna attain rainbow body in this life. And honestly, I don't see why people would want to try and get it. It's like when we die, we go back to, in my perspective, source anyway. Or maybe you call it God, or maybe you call it something else. I believe we come here to be human. And I think that in being human, we are part of transforming karma, and we're part of doing something for the bigger as long as we're connected to our heart. And we stay in honesty. And now my battery is dying. So I'm just going to end with that. I'm going to take that invitation as sum up and say that we need to have self-connection. We need to have connection to something bigger. But it's not either or. And I think everyone has the tendency to fall to one or the other side all the time. And then we can continue to become self-aware and bring us back to the cross. Horizontal and vertical. Yeah. Okay, that was a lot of big subjects and threads. If this resonates in any way, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you feel triggered or disagree, also let me know. I will ask that you stay respectful, but you can be triggered and be emotional.